right. Well, today is the 24th of October, 2021. And I wasn't really planning on doing an upload today, a live stream, but I've been going back and forth with some people, not arguing, just passing information back and forth. And hello, everyone, as you come in. And it occurred to me that I probably ought to say something about this. Thank you for letting me know I'm 5 by 5. Uh, this is one of those that kind of mixes our current political and social situation with scripture. So if you're not interested in that, good morning, everybody. Well, at least it's good morning here for another 20 minutes. If you're not interested in that, you might want to go on so I don't waste your time. I like to tell you up front what's coming. I don't like to do what a lot of other commentators do, and that is, drag you along and then finally give you the information. You go, or maybe I don't, and you say, oh, that was a waste of time. So that's where we're going, and I wanted to talk about this acceptable generation. Mankind for many millennia now has understood about taking the very best of their flocks, of their herds, etc., and making sure that the very best male and the very best female um, reproduce so that you get the very best stock. And that's been pretty much successful. Every once in a while you get a bad gene in there that gets magnified, and then and they recognize that even if they didn't know exactly what it was, although I think there's some good possibility that they did. Uh, but at any rate, so you take the very best of both and you come out with something better. And that's even evident in the Bible. They talk about that, and also amongst human beings. And this almost sounds like eugenics, but it's God's way, not the way man has been operating it now. And let me talk a little bit about that for just a few minutes. God wanted Israel to only procreate within Israel because so many of the other tribes so many of the other nations had debased themselves, not only spiritually and emotionally and mentally and physically, but even possibly down to the point where the Bible talks about they're mixing their seed with the Nephilim, right? The fallen angels and their offspring. Now, however you view that, you could say that's real, or you can look at it from the allegorical point of view. And I'm willing to go either way with people on this issue because it's the principle that matters. Most of us who have any intelligence would prefer that our children marry somebody not necessarily of high social standing, but has some good character and personalities. Now, in our modern culture, that's changed quite a bit, and it's very frustrating what we're producing these days. But it's not man-made eugenics, okay? It's maybe not taking our responsibility as parents and as parents in waiting, so to speak, uh, and our concern about our offspring. But it's not wicked manipulation of the genetic code, okay? That's not what it is. It's just impropriety, irresponsibility, or maybe just because we don't have any other opportunities. And I'm not judging any of those, but I do want to make a point here. In in Genesis, it talks about that out of the entire earth, out of the entire earth, there was one man who was perfect in his generations. And what that meant, we're talking about Noah. And what that meant is that he didn't have the fallen gene, the fallen DNA within him. Okay? That's what it meant. It meant that he could show that he was descended straight from Adam and kept that line of DNA perfect. And apparently, according to Genesis, in Noah's day, he was the last man. After his father died, he was the last man on the earth to have this perfect genome that was initially placed here by God, or at least as close to perfect as could be under the circumstances. Now, again, just follow me here for those of you who don't care for the Bible or whatever, because we're seeing something happen here now today that really impacts all of this. So, God and nature, if you just want to put it that way, had decided that the entire rest of the population, according to this story, had become so degenerate, debased, and corrupt that it was time to get rid of it. Now, I don't like that. You know, that if you have any empathy at all in yourself, that's got to bother you, especially when you consider another aspect of this. And now just hold on a minute. Okay, I talked about this once before, and I'm not suggesting this is the case. But the evil side today has certainly taken it to heart to do this. So just bear with me for a minute. What if Noah was actually the evil influence of his day? What if in fact, sorry about the interruptions, you know, I'm constantly getting communications. What if the winners that write history, and I know a lot of people say, no, the Bible's the infallible word of God, don't go there. Just listen. What if Noah was actually the evil person and he wanted the earth just for himself and to destroy other life forms and claim that they were evil, debased, wicked, mixing their seed with animals and other beings, and etc. But in reality, Noah was just very jealous and just wanted to make sure that the earth was just for him and his seed. What if that's what happened? And all those people were destroyed in a wicked manner and for nothing at all but just Noah's selfishness. Now, that really grates on people, but I'm pointing that out because that's exactly how the Luciferians look at it. That's exactly how the Luciferians look at it, and they look at it that way today. I told you the story about Joseph, for instance, Joseph of Egypt. How all the things he did with the people's freedom and liberty and assets and food and animals and land and all that, how he absconded with those and made them slaves of Pharaoh. I explained that before, and that's really why the Egyptians put the Israelites in slavery after Joseph died, because of what Joseph had done to them. And Joseph lost his birthright. He's not even mentioned in the 12 tribes. It was handed over to his youngest son, Ephraim. All of this is just allegorical at this point. I'm not expecting anybody to have to go along with it, but I want you to look at the principle involved, okay? So we have this situation today where there's an elite and they want to become gods. They want to rule everything or destroy everything if it won't submit to them. What's happening? Well, however you view the allegory of the Garden of Eden and the being perfect in your generations, the fact is, right now, what's happening is, and read between the lines here, you know I can't say it exactly. What's happening right now is there is a group of people in control who have deceived the entire world with pharmakia, right? You read between the lines. To seize power and control and to change us so that we are no longer of the perfect line of generation, as perfect as we could be. So what's happening here? They're purposely destroying, and I've talked about this in some general terms before, they're purposely destroying what we are because they consider their fallen state to be the actual perfect generation. And they willingly have said, as most of you should know, that they are going to go on and become, and again, I'm speaking so I don't say the exact words that can get this thing thrown off, right? They're going to become part human and part machine. They are in actuality the fallen ones at this point, and they are trying to destroy our generation, our generation as humans. In the description box in this video, I make a comment to say I'm going to pin a comment in the comment sections of the video once this is processed. I didn't put it in the description box because sometimes the AI or human observers, human surveillance people, will look at the description box to see if there's something in there, and I don't want it to be noticed there. It might still be noticed in the comment section, but that's the risk I'm willing to take. Okay? So when you get done with this video, after a few minutes, there will be another in the comments, my pinned comment in the comment section will have another article that has to do with what I'm talking about right now. Okay? About the changing of us. Why? So that if we do have, because we've done a lot of mixing in the world, and I know some people say that's racist and all that, whatever. The fact is we've still got a lot of damage to our DNA compared to what it used to be. It's always more pure, closer to the source of the fountain than it is downstream, right? Because you get all the other things added to it. However you want to look at that, the fact of the matter is that at this point right now, we are being made in an image by evil men so that we no longer contain the perfect generation. And they're doing it on purpose. They're doing it by force, deceit, lies, and threatening you with your life, in fact, if you don't accept it. Therefore, it's not by consent and it's not by free will. Therefore, it's not the God that I worship that they're pushing. So however you look at that Noah story, one way or the other, the fact is at this point in time, the way things are going, this is by force, not by consent and free will, free agency. See, even Eve still had that in the Garden of Eden. She wasn't forced to eat the fruit. She just accepted for herself the lies for her. She just accepted it. She went along with it without being forced to do it. She just succumbed to the deceit. That's the story. Adam, on the other hand, when Eve brought this information, as you wanted to call it, to him, he called it out for what it was, but because he loved her so much, and that's why I call it the greatest love story of all time, Adam loved her so much that he was willing to go ahead and take that thing upon himself as well so that he could be with her. And that gets into some, you'll say, well, why didn't Adam just choose the right? Well, I don't want to get into that too far, but it has to do with the promises of his generation, okay? And there's some other factors which I won't get into right now. But the bottom line is there was free agency involved in the choice there. We're not being given that free agency now. They pretended to give it to us at first, and now they're saying their patience is wearing thin and that, you know, they're going to start forcing this in all these different ways. And you all know what I'm talking about. So again, what are they doing? They're destroying what's left of the perfect generation of men. And if God wasn't willing to save anybody else at the time of the flood, but Noah, because he was the only one left that was perfect in his generations, how is God going to view all of these people having their genetic code changed. And if you don't believe the genetic code is being changed, you need to be doing a little bit more research, because what the establishment's telling you is definitely not the truth. Oh, there are some that are. For instance, the article that I'm going to put up in the comments section, the pinned comment when I'm done here and this is processed. They're forcing this on us, but will that force result in God excusing all of us? Well, not according to Revelation. Of course, the intent of your heart is always the end thing, and God's ability to judge that. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of people are accepting this, whether through ignorance, desire to survive. In other words, they have a lack of principle. My people are destroyed from lack of knowledge. My people perish from lack of knowledge. Wow. I wanted to leave that with you today. Ponder all of that. Look at it from both sides of that coin, with Noah being either a good guy or a bad guy, because that's where we are today. Just to think through that and to consider it. Okay? So that's all I've got this morning. They are trying to destroy us as part of God's family. They think they can do it. For all the Christians out there and those who hold God in high regard, God is the final judge, and he will decide what the intents of men's hearts are, and he will take his own to himself. But that doesn't relieve us of the responsibility to stand firm on principle. It doesn't. And where you end up, even if you get grace by God to be saved and have a resurrection and all that, remember, they talk about different levels of reward for those who are saved. It's not all the same. As one star differeth from another in glory, so is the resurrection. I wish and I pray for all of you that you will be able to retain your greatest blessings, which are your husbands, your wives, your children, your families, and your close friends, because that is what's important. But even that may not be given to all of us, depending upon how we proceed. So you need to be aware that making the right choice, and you might not always be right, but you have to do the very best you can, will determine at what level your reward achieves. Okay? All right. That's all I got. I won't stay on much longer. I know a lot of people have things to do today. And I hope what I've said to you makes sense. We will know in a very short time how all of this is affecting our population, our family, friends, associates, people we don't even know. I see some changes already. It's diabolical. Y'all take care. I will post the other link in the comments section. I'll make it the pinned comment after this processes. Okay? Out here for now.